So let's begin. So this was a game against the 12Q. Was this the Ben Kyo League?
No, this is unfortunately a ranked game I played and lost.
Ranked game. Okay. No worries. From what I recall from the AI chart, you were like winning for the majority of it, and then there was
Yeah,
a slip, I think, at the end. So I wouldn't feel too bad about it. And of course, we're going to talk about it. I would say for the first 52 moves, there was a -1 or -3 move, once in a while, but there was nothing that felt like it was breaking too many fundamentals. So I haven't marked anything for the first 50 moves, which is huge, right? We've been
yeah.
doing these reviews for a long time, and usually I can find something within the first 10 moves, but now your opening has become so much more better that it's starting to get harder and harder to find big mistakes, which is good. So let's take a look. You played this. Now it's funny, whenever I play this move, I already know that I'm setting up like for something.
Hmm.
So do you feel the same way when you play this 3-4? Like
Yes,
that somebody's gonna play here and this will set you up
of,
for some territory.
of course.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, that's nice. Um, you did get a nice corner right off the bat. This was already a mistake. Do you
Yeah,
know
it's too
why?
close. It's
Yes,
too close.
yes, exactly. It's too close. It's over concentrated. When you have a two stone wall, you want to jump three spaces. If there was only one stone here, then you would jump two. So this is already a mistake. This pincer also, would you find that it's a good move or a mistake?
Well, you say not to pincer unless you have a stone to the left. So
Yeah.
it's supposed to be a mistake.
Yeah, I think so. Because without this stone over here, there's not much he's gonna gain once you jump in the corner, right? He does get a wall, which he played this way. But even so, like you have a stone here, right? And so this area is not that valuable. So I think his decisions to play this way was, this pincer is not good. So already your opponent has made two mistakes, I think, that you already are aware of. So I was hoping this gives you confidence while you're playing. Like when I know my opponents make mistakes, it makes me confident. So this was one of the first mistakes. It's fine what you did. I have no problem with it. But the computer really wanted you to play here or here. And the reason is because you have a stone on black's vital points. So
Yes.
black is significantly weaker. So once you play something like this, right, what is black going to do here?
Yeah.
If black has to run away like this is sad for black, right? Even if it went something like this. I mean, this wasn't the computer's variation. I actually didn't note it down because I didn't think this was a big enough mistake to really like go
Okay.
into. But what
Okay.
I can tell you is normally black will play this, and then
Yes.
it goes like this, and so that's very normal. But when black doesn't do this, you're on the
Hmm.
vital point, so you need to
Hmm.
recognize there's a weakness.
Hmm. Hmm.
This was the zero move, right? Like the golden blue move.
Yeah.
And then this was the green move. And this is probably what I would have chose myself.
Hmm.
If he plays here, it could come out to be like a normal thing, but still, you can still cut here because white is alive here right now. And
Yeah.
so now there's a huge weakness, right? There's a very big weakness with these stones.
Yeah. They probably die.
Yeah, I think you would too. Even if you have to play an ugly triangle, like he'll never be able to get up. You know what I mean? Anytime he'd
Yeah.
jump, he'd be dead. Um,
Hmm. I
so
wish I had.
so yeah, if you remember our shape lectures about the middle of three, right? This
Hmm.
is the
Hmm.
even though
Hmm.
there isn't a third stone, it's on the
Hmm.
middle of the three, right?
Yeah.
So always remember that if you're hitting somebody's vital point, you can keep hitting them hard.
Yeah.
So this was a bit relaxed, but it was fine. I didn't think it, like I said, it was a major mistake or anything. Um, Same with this last push. So right now you're alive. So generally you can play away now. And ideally, if he's making a big wall like this, then this is one of the most important directions, right? Because if black
Yeah.
gets an approach over here, we can see that black's expanding as far as he possibly can.
Hmm.
And so something like this or this would be really nice right now.
Mm.
So yeah, I know. I once again I didn't mark this as a major mistake because I know what you were thinking, right? And the idea is that you didn't want to get sealed in.
Yep.
So if you played something like this, black has the option to play this.
Yep.
But between the two exchanges, making this wall inefficient is actually good for you. And if he played like this, then you can come on this side. And if
Okay.
you then you can make
Yeah.
this like less efficient, right? You can do something like this. Um, so this still wasn't a terrible move. Maybe it was a -1 to 3, but I didn't. I know where you were going with this, and I was fine with it. One of the keys is definitely not to leave this one because if you leave this one, now you're in Gote.
Right.
Where when you play this one and you do this, now you have Sente. So that's one way you can try and distinguish when you don't need to keep pushing like this. Does that make sense or does that sound confusing?
No, it makes sense. Makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah, yeah. So the idea is that if you're completely alive and if he seals you in and you get Sente, then it's okay for you then to Tanuki here. So it's okay for you to Tanuki at this point.
Okay.
But still, this isn't bad because later on, he didn't play this, right? He didn't play here. And
Yeah.
so you can get this later, or this, or anything really. You could even confidently come over here and see what he wants to do, right? And then you can come back. Um, so him not playing this move is actually kind of bad. So this was the wrong direction. Actually,
Yes.
I probably should have marked this one. The
Yeah.
reason I
Yeah.
didn't was because it's a good checking extension against these stones. So in essence, it's a great move. But I think the timing is just off, just because this
Hmm.
thickness is so
Hmm.
strong that
Hmm.
you should not approach thickness closely, right? That's against the rules because then you'd get pincered and countered. But you should play towards it as close as safely as you can, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I didn't mark this as a mistake either, mainly because when I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, this is a very good checking extension, right? This is a really good move against this inefficient group."
Right.
But I think this just has more value to you,
Yes.
which is to
Yeah.
help you protect your corner and to stifle Black's extension. Because if
I
he
agree.
only extends 3 spaces, this is not good for Black.
Yeah.
Um, so whenever we get a break in the fighting, just like what I said from the attack and defense book, we should evaluate the board and try and find the biggest and most important areas. Um, you might have done that, right? I'm not sure. I know that you probably had some bloodlust because you saw an inefficient group and you could do a lot of damage to it. What would you say you felt? Do you
Yeah. No, I
remember?
mean, I looked at both moves, but somehow
Yeah.
I evaluated it incorrectly. No, I think you're right. I mean, I clearly should have come toward the other direction.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. I mean, like I said, I really don't even think this is much of a. It's still a really good move. I just think there was something a little more important on the board, which is this side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because once he gets this extension, now this is starting to become very giant, right? This is starting to
Yeah.
become really big. And then when you kick, it does help him get stronger, which helps him
Okay.
get this more, right? So normally I wouldn't kick here, but to be fair, no matter what move you choose, it makes it tough, right? If you back off like this, then he can still
Yeah.
make this area somewhat big. If you attach on top, this might actually be a good answer because he's not making a lot of territory here.
Yeah.
It's becoming much smaller, right? And you can continue to make it smaller. So this
Yeah.
might be a good exchange, but the kick I think just helps him build, and you
Yeah.
have a weakness here still.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't like this kick. So we when we're thinking about when black approaches us, we have to think of the aftermath of it. Um, and I
I
know,
thought, I thought he would, of course, go up, and then I thought make an extension, and it would be over concentrated. That really was what I had thought.
yeah, yeah, I would disagree with that thought just because
Yeah.
he's so
Yeah.
strong here.
Yeah.
So there's no way you can come in here now, right? You're gonna be in big trouble,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I don't think you're gonna be able to make eyes here to live.
Right. Right.
And so this just is just helping black get stronger, which makes
Yeah.
his area
Yeah.
bigger. That's what I
Yeah.
think. So let's see. So the double approach was fine. I have no problem with it. I think you could have just made the game simpler. Um, Actually, yeah, I think you could just make it simpler. Because if he blocks this way, right, you always
Yeah.
have this opening here. So he
True.
can't make any territory here.
True.
So
True.
this is great
True.
for white.
True.
And if he plays the way he did last time, once again, you're even more extended out, right? And so there's very little territory here. And so this is also fine for you. So if we go through the motions, you just
Yeah.
got a 10-point corner, and
Yeah.
he has
Yeah.
to fight for a very small amount of points here. You could
Yeah.
even counterattack him because you're very powerful here. So you can kind of do what you want with your thickness, right? You can throw bombs in. You remember we talked about that in the class. If you're
Yeah.
strong, then you can kind of do things like this, right?
Yeah.
And so this is a win-win situation for you, no matter which direction he does, because this direction's bad for black and good for white. This direction's bad for black. So that's why I think making things simpler would have been fine here. Still, the computer loved this move. This was the blue move. Black shouldn't bunker down in the corner like this. So
Yeah.
I think you got this idea from our handicap games, I assume, because this would happen a lot when we first started playing. So this is
Yeah.
really nice. And I think everything you did was correct, especially this move. It was here where we reach our first big point where you started, like it was like a -10 move, like it was really bad,
Oh
which
no.
was this move here. There's a lot of reasons why this is bad. Just off the bat, you
Oh,
can
it's a
get split.
broken. Yes. Yes. It's a broken Romeo Juliet. Ugh.
Yeah, so right off the bat, like this is a bad move. I think
Yeah.
maybe you got flustered because you thought that these moves were gonna be good, and then you thought that this was dead, and so then you just gave up on it and you got flustered. I think that's what happened.
That is true. But is it not dead?
No, it's not. So once again, you're hitting the vital point of these three stones.
Yep.
And so you have a very powerful attack on this. It's going to be very hard for black to live and kill you at the same time because black also has lots of weaknesses. Um, Now, would I expect you to know these? No. Did I know these? Not. I knew that you should continue the fight here, right? I knew there was ways you could play to try and increase your liberties, right? Like if you played something like this would be good for you because
Yeah.
you'd be able to get out and you can see that you can hurt these. And as long as you're out, then this is weak, right? So
Right. Right.
there's a lot of moves you can do to increase your liberties here. But the move that the computer found is this clamp. This clamp is really good because it makes black unsettled. Black can't live in this corner right now. So black needs to find this move, which I think would also be very hard for a double digit cube player.
Yeah.
Um, so then white can take the stone. And now you see that white can either live in the corner or kill this group. It has a lot of power.
Yeah.
Um, so it does create a ko, and at this point, the computer uses the ko to its advantage. Even if you make a ko that you're going to lose, if they have to win it, then that means you get two moves on the outside, right?
Right.
And that's the
Right.
advantages of having a ko. So at this point, it shows that black will push and white will attack these two stones, and then white attacks this, and now it made the ko bigger, right? You can see this 11 makes the ko bigger.
Right.
And so when black takes it, white gets a second move on the outside. And then when black fixes itself, white gets a third move on the outside. So these three
Oh
moves
yeah.
cover this roughly the same amount of territory as black getting here, right? And
Yes.
this also breaks black's huge moyo. So this is a really double purpose move.
Wow.
Now, like I said, this is pretty advanced, this clamp here.
Yeah.
So I didn't expect you to like, I don't even expect myself to find this in a sense. But I knew that you were hitting these vital points, right? And it's going to
Yeah.
be hard for black to kill you without, dying himself. So this needed to be the focus still.
Yeah. Okay.
There was one other I think there was
Wow.
one other computer variation. Maybe I didn't jot it down, but there was one I think where if white attaches here, black has to figure out what to do, right? Like what is black gonna do? If Atari's on the inside, I showed you you can get out, right, which is great, and get a Romeo
Yeah.
Juliet split. You do
Yeah.
have a dumpling shape, but if you're out, then this is significantly weak, and this is weak, which is good. And then the other one, most people would play something like this, right? And so now you have
Right.
extra liberties, which then you can
Yeah.
play this move or like try and find something to hurt black, right? Because you
Yeah.
have quite a lot of liberties, and black
Yeah.
isn't fully alive yet, right? So that
Huh. Well.
that's what needed to happen. So I just
Yeah.
want you to know that the computer thought this was blue, this was blue, this was blue, and this was blue. So every move was like computer perfect. You were playing at a very high level. You were hitting all the right vital points. You were doing everything correct, uh, and then you didn't know what to do after that. So then
Yeah.
and then you played
Yeah.
a really bad move, right? Um, I think once you get confused, then you start making mistakes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like clearly this would be much better than this one.
Mm.
Like just on a in a local, if we only
Right.
focused
Right.
right
Right.
here,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
So yeah, black got to cut through you, which was bad for you. And then it was here actually. So this is the computer variation I put down. So no, let me just emphasize, keep on task, right? Black was really weak
Yes.
up here, and so that's
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
you should have kept
Yeah.
going. But
Yeah.
at this point, this was a mistake for black because now you can get stronger once again, right? And what I got out of this was, do you remember how we talked about increasing the sacrifice?
Yes.
So even if you think that white's gonna die here, which white apparently had a way to live,
Yeah.
but even if you thought white was gonna die here, it's important to increase your sacrifice. So it takes black that many more moves to kill these, right?
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
see there's actually quite a lot of damage you
Ah,
can do here, right? Like this would be devastating to black.
yeah. Yeah.
This clamp, I think I wouldn't say is easy to find for a double digit Q player, but for me, I can see it clearly. Um, because if he goes down, when you come up, it threatens a cut. And so this is a very classic like Tetsuji, clamp Tetsuji.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if he plays something like this, well, now you're just going to get more liberties in a ko, right?
Yeah.
And if he plays this, same thing, you get to connect. So these clamps are really nice. But yeah, so even if you couldn't see like the clamp or what happens in this
Yeah.
variation, which is this
Yeah.
attachment under,
Could have tossed another stone in.
yes, yes, yes. The idea is that you could have increased the sacrifice to make it that much harder for black to kill you, which would give you an immense amount of ko's. Like if you ever get into a ko fight, you're gonna have like 8 or 9 ko's just in this
Right.
area alone.
Right.
So this is a very important skill that we've covered before, but it is hard to grasp. I mentioned that in my shape video that double digit Qs, they're not used to giving away extra stones. Who wants to give away extra stones that are going to die, right? But there
Two
is a
is fine. Four is ridiculous.
yeah, but there's a very good reason that this is a good technique, right?
Yeah,
All right. So we'll go back to the game. So this was a bad move, I think, because of that.
yeah,
Um, and if you wanted to know, all like I said, remember the first 50 moves, I didn't see too much of a problem with your play.
yeah,
You were up about 17 points. When you
yeah,
were here, you were up like almost 17 to 20 points,
yeah,
which me shows both of us, right, that your opening was superb, right? You
yeah,
shouldn't be up 20 points. Like the game should be, if you're at the same rank, you should be fairly even most of the game, right?
yeah,
So your opening was definitely superb. There was some nitpicks, but up to 52 moves, I think you did a great job. Uh, so that I will definitely give you a pat on the back for. But yeah, at this point, once you played like this move and this move, you took a -10 hit, right, which was really
yeah,
painful.
yeah,
And Black apparently was aware that White had a chance to do a lot of
yeah,
damage, so Black
yeah,
took the time to snuff that. This also just feels a little slow. I know that you wanted to keep all your stones connected,
yep,
but the most important part of the game was to take advantage of this weak group, right? You set up this
yeah,
weak group with this
yep,
checking
yep, yep,
extension.
yep,
And actually, I wouldn't say this is the most important part of the game. I'm sorry. The most important part of the game was here. Because right now, if Black plays a move up here, his
yeah,
Moyo becomes much more formidable and bigger.
yep,
And if White plays a move here, then this Moyo becomes much more stifled, right, and small.
yep, yep,
So this is the conflicting Moyo line, right? We've
yep,
talked about this before. These are
yes,
the most important parts of any Go game. If there's any time there's conflicting Moyos, the computer will say every move to play, here, play here, play here, play here, play here, right? And so this is where the
right,
most important part of the game came in.
right,
Your move, I think, is fine. Like, I don't see a problem with this move. This move does help Black get stronger, but it does give you more influence in the center. But I think this is the time where you would use
oh,
the diagonal jump, the
elephant's
elephant
eye,
eye.
yeah,
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 we've
yeah,
covered this in the class. Of course, I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
expect you to always remember everything I say at all times. You'd be
This
a,
I do remember. I
but
mean, I do remember this.
yeah, when the time you
But
use the elephant is when you have a extended, when you have a clamp like this, and
yeah,
they didn't do anything about it, right?
yeah,
Black should
yeah,
have, once you extended here, Black should have played this a long time ago.
yeah.
So when Black didn't, this gives you actually a really good opportunity. Do you remember the next move for White? What do you
It's a
do when they
knight's.
poke up here?
It's a knight's move, and it would be yes,
Yeah, exactly. If you remember that when somebody pokes your eye out, usually the correct answer is the knight's move, then you're always going to have a good time, right? As long as you keep strong, you can see that Black can't really get out, right? Black's having a lot of trouble getting
right,
out here.
right,
And
right.
even if he does connect, right? Like let's say he does do this, well look at what's happening to his Moyo, right?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
starting
I
to get
missed.
cooked up.
I thought about trying it, and then I thought, well, I'm just going to put black stones near my stones, and didn't like that.
Yeah. I understand the feeling, right? It's unnatural to allow yourself to get cut, right? It's unnatural
Yeah,
to allow yourself to get cut. And that's what
yeah,
makes this Setsuji very hard to use, even for single digit Q players. But it is a great technique
yeah,
because you can see that Black just can't
yeah,
make
yeah,
eyes,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Next turn.
so, so this move was a missed opportunity. I still think you did fine, but this move was off the mark here. What you're doing is making sense, right? You're poking at some weakness and you're
Yep,
stopping
yep.
Black's Moyo. But the most important part of the game is here.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and so that's why that's the main takeaway you can take away from this game, Marty,
Yeah,
is the two times that like you presented an opportunity to kind of spoil his territory a little bit, right? We have to
yeah,
recognize this thickness can become something really big.
yeah,
So a lot of
yeah,
the times we'll want to spoil that potential, right? So
yeah,
here's the first kind of instance of that.
yep,
And then, whenever there was a lull in the fighting here, like now, I wouldn't care about this one stone right now. Now's the time where you need to recognize this Moyo
yeah,
could be
yeah,
huge
yeah,
with one move. One move can
yeah,
make this game
yeah,
change,
yeah, yeah,
and that's pretty much what happened. So same, I keep looking for lulls in the fights, right? Like I think you should respond here, even though the computer's saying just forget that, play here, right? I think it's respectable that you answer these, but now once there's a lull, like this was a really bad move. You
yeah,
can now come back and fix, right?
yeah, 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 yeah,
And
yeah.
and now that you actually spent the time to make a wall here, you
Yeah.
actually can profit too.
And that's what I was doing at the top. I thought, I'll drop that one stone and I'll be so that my next move.
Yeah, so this is you're
No, no,
thinking,
keep going, keep going.
yeah, the
And
connection.
there, then I'm making a wall. You can't see it, but
I
this is
mean,
supposed to
I
be more. This is more strength to go down. That's what I thought. I'll be
okay,
closer.
gotcha. Yeah, it is a wall, but this wall right is facing black,
Yeah,
so there's no profit here.
yeah, yeah.
Whereas this one, there's profit here, and
Yes,
you're
yes,
breaking this.
yes. Yeah, I see it now.
Yeah, I understand, Marty. My move would have been more conservative with this. The computer kept saying over here, here, and or
Uh,
here, right?
yeah,
And because I would be worried about getting disconnected, but the
yep,
computer says don't worry about that. Just deal with it if he tries, right? But I don't know. I mean, like if it went like this, I wouldn't like it, right? I
right.
get or like I mean this is okay. You don't get the territory you wanted, but you still break up the Moyo. The
Yeah,
computer says when you play this, the correct move for black is to play like a submissive move like this.
yeah,
And I didn't think a human would play that way. I think they would try and separate. And I don't know how to
yeah. Me
deal with
too.
it per se,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But I guess the idea is that if he tries to cut you apart, just let him cut you apart, and then you just make more shape down here, right? Something. So yeah, so this is the big takeaway from the game was this Moyo,
okay.
and I think Black gets it if I remember right. So like a lot of these moves were just like small things I wouldn't worry about too much. Um, so yeah, same thing. If you played, let's say here,
Yeah,
right, then Black would have to submit again, right, and then
yeah,
you can come over here to break up more, right, because this is so big,
yeah,
and then you can come back to hit five, which is a really good move. Hitting the head of three stones is a good move, but once
yeah.
again, this is just the most important part. I think I, what do you call it, harped on the most important part of the game already.
Okay.
But this, we could
This
talk
is
about this.
this is I just don't
It was a
I just
reading
lost
mistake.
I lost focus here. Yeah, I just wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, you have three liberties, so you
Yep,
can play here, and he only has two.
yep,
And even if he plays down like this, you have two liberties, but now he
yeah,
has one, and you connected, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
so if you just hit him on the head of two stones here,
yeah.
he can't do anything. He's got nothing.
Ugh,
Um, I know it's painful. When you play this way, now it gives him options, right?
yep,
And then
yep.
options, and then options, and
Yeah, this was
options.
just terrible.
Yeah, this was really big. So at this point, the computer still believed you were leading by quite a lot of points,
Yeah, yeah,
like at least 10, if not more. And then once this happened, this was kind of like
yeah,
too
yeah,
painful.
yeah,
Is too
yeah,
painful. This is
yeah.
those Ataris you were talking about, right? This is because he
Yes,
kept saying
exactly.
you were Ataring and then
Yeah,
Ataring and
I just wasn't paying attention.
yeah, and that happens when you lose. I do the same thing, right? Where I can lose my focus too. So it just happens. But you know, just always try and get your reading up and try and stay focused. One thing you
Yeah,
can do, which might stress you out, and I hope it doesn't, is just remind yourself that this is a ranked game, and you do. And I know you care about your rank, right? I
yeah.
know you
Oh,
do.
I
So,
do.
so even if it's a game win or lose, don't mind if you lose. But I do remind myself if I find myself getting lazy with my reading, like if I'm
Yeah,
starting to get like unconscious or like I'm not just not thinking, I'm just playing, then I try and
yeah.
remind myself, hey, this is a ranked game. You definitely care about your rank. Like shape up, guy. It's the pep talk I give myself.
I see.
So if you find yourself like right here when you lost the
Yeah,
stone, I think
yeah,
you should have
yeah,
woke up and then been like, okay, remember this is a ranked game, and then you can
yeah,
connect here,
yeah,
right? And he
yeah,
still has problems.
yeah.
Um,
That's good, Michael. I'm gonna have to stick pins in myself or something.
yeah. Like when there's a big mistake that happens, take a deep breath, remember what you're trying to do, accomplish, and do here, and then, if you have to step away and lose a 30-second beat, you only do it, right? But you need to, you can't allow one mistake to go into like five mistakes, right?
Right,
Which is what
right,
happens here, which
right.
is really painful. Funny enough, though, you were actually because you got this push down and
Yeah,
you made this territory, you actually were winning again. You still had the lead after
yeah.
this.
I didn't feel bad,
Yeah.
but
It,
this I felt bad. This was just okay.
yep.
This is awful. This is
Yeah.
just awful.
It happens, Marty. It happens. My game against Struggle Bus, it was awful, right? I did the same exact thing you just did right now. Um, so
All I
when
had
you,
to do, yeah,
I don't
was
know.
that.
Yeah, I don't know if your morale was low, but
No, I just wasn't paying attention.
yeah, yep. Yeah, so if you made a bamboo joint here, you would have been fine. But yeah, once you played this, now it was game over. This was the big swing
Yeah, it's
that,
game over. Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, that made
Terrible,
it over. Yeah.
terrible.
So I wouldn't fret too much, Marty. I mean, if you played, 199 moves and you were still doing fairly well, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't
Yeah,
be too upset. I do get angry at myself when I make dumb endgame mistakes because I do it.
yeah,
I do that often. But you just can't beat yourself up. You got to look at some of the positives of this game, right? And some of the positives you did was one, you didn't really make too many mistakes, up to 52 moves. You actually even recognized when your opponent made mistakes, right? Like when Black
yep,
played this little
yep,
extension. So you're
yep.
getting to the point where you can see your opponent's mistakes and you know you need to capitalize on them, which is great. Um, you were even here, right? Like I was even impressed that you were hitting blue, 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 and then blue here too, right? Like I was like, wow, Marty's really taking to heart like the vital points and shapes, and he's like getting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um, and of course, you slipped, but that's to be expected, right? But yeah, I wouldn't feel too bad about this game. For the most part, you played really well. The only thing you missed the mark on was, and both of you missed it, mind you, was
yeah,
how
yeah.
important the conflicting
Yes,
Moyos are.
yeah, yeah.
That's so important. So that's what I would take away from this game, Marty. 100%. All right. Any questions on any of these? They all make sense, I hope.
No, they all make sense.
Okay.
I've written down conflicting moyos
Yeah, that's a big one that we have discussed a few times. It doesn't
for
come up.
sure.
It doesn't come up every game. I feel like it should, but it doesn't come up every game. But it's definitely something that you have to be aware of. It comes up often enough. And the other thing that you can try and remember is this one too, right? So if our opponents make a lot of strength, and if they
Yeah,
extend,
yeah, 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 yeah,
if they
yeah,
extend on us, it makes them a lot stronger. Then you can
yeah,
break that extension subtly. You can use small knights or large knights. They're both good.
yeah.
And it helps you protect the corner while it's spoiling their shape. So that's a good one. All right. So you need a bathroom break or anything before we go to the next game?
I think I'm good.
Okay, let's go through it. This one's a lot less, much more simpler, in my opinion. Um, maybe a little more nitpicky, but it's fine. So you're playing a 6Q, 6 handicap. How did you feel about this game in general?
So I felt pretty good. This guy is new to the Benkyo League, and he's won all his games in my division.
Okay.
So he's a formidable opponent, and I came close, but I still feel like I could have won. I just didn't.
Yeah, yeah, I think that I feel the same way. I feel the same exact way. So let's take a look. Let's look at this. Direction of play wise. So for black, between A and B,
Hmm.
which one has more value, right? I'm already giving you the answer, but why is this one more valuable than this one? Can you tell me? You gotta look at the whole board.
I see, because I have more support on the other side. I looked at it as having more room on the left.
Yeah, so over here, it's just more empty, honestly. That's what it really is. That's what it comes down to. Because white has a group here, once you make a wall this way, there's already pollution. There's already scum in your pond,
Mm,
you know?
mm, mm, mm.
And
So it's
so,
that stone. So it's
yeah.
that stone at O3.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, and
Okay.
that's what it really comes down to. The computer agreed with me. I made sure to check the
Yeah.
direction, and
Yeah.
I mean the computer actually likes these moves too, which is really weird to me.
Huh.
This is something I was taught not to do,
Yeah.
but the computer
Yeah.
likes them when you have stones on each side. So
Huh.
I guess it's fine. I don't. I wouldn't recommend learning these because I don't think they'll help you in your live games, right? Like
Yeah.
your
No
even
way.
games. Whereas
Yeah.
these will help you tremendously in your even games. So I think you should
Yeah.
stick with these.
Yeah.
But direction wise, there's just more space. There's less.
Okay.
There's you have more influence on this side. Whereas
Okay.
this side, if white lives, right, which white probably will or can,
Yep.
right, then
Yep.
there's less room over here.
Yeah.
That's what it was really about. But it was a minor mistake. Still, these minor mistakes build up. Like I see in your
Yep.
Terry games, a lot of times you'll keep choosing the wrong direction and it builds up,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
why I want to address it.
Yeah.
Let's see. So all this was fine. This was good. This is fine. I looked to see if like the computer preferred the kick here, and the reason is because he can't extend three spaces, right? And when you
Yeah.
jump, now you see that both A and B are weak,
Okay.
right? If black lives here, then this is gonna make like no points, and this is
Yeah.
gonna make no points.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why this kick would have been nice here.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. But this is still
Okay.
fine. It wasn't really a big mistake or anything. This was fine too. Now this is
I
what I
learned.
taught you, and I
I
think it's
learned. Yes.
yeah, I think this is good and fine. Funny enough, the computer said to play this one this time. I think it's because the stone is high, but I still think what you did is good. Um, the reason is, and I can show you, is when we play like when this is low and he pushes through, we can
Yeah.
actually just give him the two stones and be happy that we're taking all this territory.
Okay.
But when this is high, like it is in the game, we can't do that now, right? We're actually like really low.
Yes. Yes.
And so that's why, depending if this is high or low,
Oh my
we
God.
we choose this or this.
Oh my God, Michael.
I know it's very subtle. It's a lot to remember, and it's very situational, right? But that's what Go is, right? So normally I wouldn't even think of this move myself, to be fair, Marty, because then now White gets this nice exchange, right?
Yeah.
And I don't like that, right? I don't like that White gets this nice exchange. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't have thought of this myself. But now that I saw like why the stone is high, I can remember my training, which is,
Yes.
now I can't. Now this stinks, right?
I
I'm
see. Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Wow. I was
but
so proud of myself.
it's fine. It's still really good in my opinion. Because what you can do here, this was good, and I think this is good too. What you can do is play this exchange, because now, I mean, maybe this isn't good because of this stone. I actually thought a lot about this, but normally you play this exchange, so that way, if white was to try and cut you, he can't. Right? He's in trouble.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Like he
Yes.
can't cut you here because now he would be dead.
Yes.
And so he has to come back, and so this protects your cut.
Okay.
So normally I'd make this exchange, but because you have a stone here, this isn't good for black here, right? Because
Yeah.
white can play something like this now and like most
Yeah.
likely kill you. Um, so that's just something I thought about. Just you can throw that out of your brain for this review, but usually
Okay.
you want to make this exchange so that this cut doesn't work. So I didn't count this as a mistake. I actually really like your strategy. Your strategy was to separate these two.
Yes.
And this is very good because this is significantly weak and this is significantly weak. So you did a very good job with this move. The computer said this was better, and I think one of the reasons is because this part of
The
your
cut.
group is a little weak, right? You have
Yeah.
this cut.
Yeah.
If white pushes on top of you, right, like it just feels bad, right? You're limited. So the
Yeah.
computer is playing this so that you just be that much stronger.
Yeah.
And this we group is weak because it doesn't have two eyes yet, right? Let's
Yes.
say if he tanukis and you played something like this, or even just this, right? You can see there's no two eyes here,
Right. Right.
and
Right.
so that's why this turn is really big.
I see.
But I still praise your strategy here. That this was a very good idea to play this move. And this was excellent. This was actually the blue move, which was great. I was very happy to see it because the stronger this gets, the weaker this becomes. Right? That's what
Yeah.
you were thinking, and so that's
Yeah.
why you strengthen yourself. It's very good. This was good.
Plus, it's at the vital point.
Yeah, it's the vital point of the three, right? Yeah, so it's both attacking and defending. This was excellent too. So once again, you're playing all the blue moves. So, I see your training has been paying off. Like all your shape attacks and like movement has been improving drastically, which is great. Even cutting here was really good, right? Because now he has to worry about this. One thing you could have done first was exchange this,
Uh-huh.
or this, right? Because if he connects now you can cut him and eat these three
Oh, yeah.
stones.
Yeah.
And if he protects it, right? If he protects it, well, now you can cut this, and so now he doesn't have two eyes.
Yeah.
So this is like a retrospect thing, right? Like this looks like a good move, but you can make it better by comboing it
Yes.
with this,
Yes.
right? Um, Still though, white actually doesn't have two eyes here, so this actually can be killed. Um, the idea is like, let's say if you played something like this, you can see there's no two eyes here,
Yes.
and you could play this, and now he's really like dead.
So
Um,
I should have killed him.
well, you still had to worry about the safety of these stones, and that's what you were doing with this move, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this would have been better by the computer standards. One, it's hurting this stone significantly, and two, then you can hurt these stones significantly. And as long as you find a way out or get connected, and this stays strong, then this can then get killed, right?
Okay.
So if you just try and kill this right off the bat, maybe white would be able to counterattack you and hurt you in some like major way, right? So it could be a problem. So your idea of getting stronger was correct, but your technique was off. This
Okay.
is usually a way to get stronger, right? This is what happened in
Yeah.
the game, and it
Yeah.
did make you stronger. But the problem is, do you actually see the problem? Do you see what's happening?
I mean, I know he's gonna. Yeah, it's making my corner weaker.
Exactly. Yes, exactly right. So if you touch this stone and this stone gets stronger, then it makes your corner more sour, right? It ruins your
Yeah,
corner.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
that's why you don't want to play this one, and this one is far superior, right? Because now you're
yeah,
attacking actually
yeah,
two things at
yeah,
once.
yeah.
Very, very subtle stuff. Uh, Hopefully, like this is very situational, but you know what I mean? Like, who knows when the situation will come up
Right,
again?
right,
But it's
right.
still good to understand that, like,
Yeah,
your idea is right where you needed to make more strength for your group, but see if you can do it while attacking. This is like really defending, right?
yep, yep,
Whereas this is attacking. The other thing
yeah,
that does happen often is a lot of the times when you're split like this, if you try things like this, it will spoil the other side, right? And so
yep,
that's something that does come up often. So you have to be well aware of that happening because this becomes a problem, right? Later on in the game, I think you
yeah, yeah,
lose this
yeah.
whole
No, no, for
corner.
sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
and then it makes the game a lot harder when you lose everything here.
Yeah,
Um, and that started with this decision of playing here.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what we have to think about. So this was good. Can you kill this now? Yeah, you can. You can just outright kill this now with this Hane.
There's
Um,
death in the honey.
do you kill this? I forget actually.
No, I don't. I
Okay.
don't.
Yeah. So once you break this eye, he can't make two eyes.
Yeah,
Did you see that? But you were more focused on like getting
I
out
did
because
not see
this.
that.
Okay.
But I was worried about getting out. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Because what you're doing is still good. Getting out of here hurts this group, right, and this group. So what
Yeah,
you're doing is correct. You're keeping your opponent split and small and weak. So everything you're doing is right. But just know that yeah, you could have killed this whole group with one move. If you play this way, then white lives.
great.
Right, white lives. But if you take out this eye, then white has no way to live. Let's see. Oh, so we can talk just briefly about this. This net would have been better. This one allows white to come out,
Yeah.
right? I don't know if white does. I guess he does get out, right?
No, he doesn't. Those three stones die.
Yeah. But this one would have killed this easier, and then you're putting more pressure up here, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
this would have been much nicer. Remember the
yeah,
net,
yeah.
always remember your Tetsujis. I always go through my cycle of look for a ladder, then look for a knight to kill or a net, and then I go for the knight's move if I need to, right? Because this could probably kill white too. I think I didn't test it though. This is just easier. Um, so I'm gonna speed up a little bit here.
Okay.
But everything was fine. I think once you got this cut, this was really good for you because White's actually dead here. White can't make two
Yeah,
eyes.
yeah,
And you gaining as many liberties as possible is smart, right? Like all your moves here are just gaining liberties, gaining liberties. Um,
yeah. This was very tense.
yeah, you did a good job with it though. You were lacking liberties because you're surrounded, but he's also
Yeah,
dying. So the
yeah,
move that was missed was here. So this one allows white to create a ko,
yeah,
but this move, white can't create a ko. There's nothing. It's like you're hitting your own vital point, right? You're blocking your own vital point, the vital
right,
point at the
right,
very
right,
end.
right.
Because if
But
white pushes through,
doesn't he get an eye that way?
yeah, he can get one eye, but he doesn't have enough liberties to make it work. I don't think. Like let's say if it just went like this, right? You have more liberties than he does.
Yes, I see. Okay. I was thinking like eye versus no eye. That was the
The proverb in your head. Yeah, that
yeah,
works. That generally having an eye is better than no eye, but when you have this many liberties, you can out capture him, right? Even when
yeah,
he has an eye. So playing this would have been the better shape point. Um, But once you played this, it does give white an opportunity for a ko, which then he got the better of the ko out of it, right? You ended up
Yeah, no,
filling it.
much better. And I said to myself, "This is stupid, Michael." I go, "I don't care what he does. I'm going to fill this thing."
Yeah, yeah. And it's a good, I understand that thinking, but yeah, this hurt just because this corner was really big for you, and then
Yep.
killing this was really big for you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I probably shouldn't have said that to myself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we always want to put more thought in our codes because codes are game changing. So, even though I know you feel that way internally, don't follow that advice, right? Evaluate the worth, right? And if you
Yeah.
lose
Yeah.
this whole corner, like you're
Yeah.
losing all this white group and you're losing your
Yeah.
corner, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
it's too big. It's too big.
Yeah.
So, um, so there was some fun techniques in here. You went right for the vital point, which, is a good intuition to start, but you have to read it out. In this case, if you actually played this, it threatens this, and now you
Yeah.
can do the wrap up Tetsuji. Do you remember the Do you remember
I
the roll
do,
and
but
pack?
yeah, but where?
One, two, three. If he keeps going, then he's gonna eventually get hurt. So I'll show you the short version first, and then the
Okay.
long. So if he takes, then you Atari,
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. 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 For sure.
and you wrap him up and you kill him. There's no way to
Yeah.
that he can stop.
Wow.
If
Wow.
if he fixed himself, well, now you get to kill these three stones,
Wow. Oh my God. Look how
right?
close that is now.
You could kill these two stones.
Yeah.
You could. There's a lot of things that can happen out of this. So he
Yeah.
should answer here, and if he does, now you can wrap him up. I think we've done the you've done the problem
Well, no,
set, right?
absolutely. I've definitely done it.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time to recognize it in real games, though. Obviously, in problem sets, you know it's there, whereas real games, you don't know it's there. But that's why you got to look, right? And
It's
so that's I know I get it. Like I'm saying, I understand completely. A lot of this comes with experience. Um, but I would have tried to find a way to kill these two stones, right? So let's look at the long version, right? Well, you might have worried about this, right? But once you play here and here, he's already dead, right? So he's gonna have to do this again, and then you get to do this, and it's the same thing.
yeah.
So whether it's the short where he just takes it now, or the long, you're gonna win this. So it was very cool to see. It was fun to see on my part.
If only I'd seen it during the game, Michael.
I I know. I'm wondering if this works. Let's see. No, he can capture you. Although, no, yeah, he can just capture you, so it's fine. Well, let me see actually. Yeah, he can capture you. Okay, I didn't look at that in the review. So I'm gonna have to speed along just a little bit more. We're almost done.
Okay.
Stay connected. Yeah, this was actually very surprising. You played these moves, and they were good,
Yeah.
and you had a chance to connect. I was very shocked you didn't connect. Right?
Huh. Can
There's
we go back and let me just see where I was that I missed it?
Yeah. So you played this move. So you played here, and there was a connection here, and then
Yeah,
he
yeah,
played
yeah.
here,
Ugh.
and then these died, of course.
So why would I not?
I
So I see. But why? Okay, what's wrong with the Hane? That's I guess what I misread.
Yeah, so this is the move to
Yeah.
connect. Maybe you read this and saw that it didn't work, right? Maybe,
No, but
but
suppose
even
I
then, it
think I looked
actually
at the
does it.
other one, but suppose he Hanes on top of me. Is it self-ataring? Why? Oh, Michael.
Yeah, even if he plays here, you're fine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now I see.
Yeah, so if you connected here, then these would have died, and then you would have got this whole area.
Then I would have won.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's funny enough, this is still here. So that's kind of funny in itself. Um, just because he's a 6Q, right? So he should know this too. Like
But he
this
probably
had
does. And
value.
he's just thinking, well, if I don't do it, he thinks it's alive.
Yeah, and it did live. So he did make this live later. But
Yeah.
is this even alive? Let me see. What if if you played here? He has to take, and now he's dead again. Actually, because you can unsettle 3,
Yeah.
or this
Yeah.
is just dead. So if you
Wow.
made this a false eye, this would have also been dead.
So many techniques, so little. We were in Byoyomi. It was really quite harried there at the end.
Yeah. And finally, now this is a really high level technique. I missed it. The computer found it. I don't expect you to find this, but this was a really cool technique, which was this one. At any point in the game, actually, you could have played this move, and
Okay.
when white takes your stones, you can
Yeah.
then set up this Atari, right? Oops,
Yeah.
maybe it wasn't this. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, it was okay. So you can set up this like Atari, right? White's
Yeah.
almost dead. So
Yeah.
if white protects, you can Atari, and then you can make 2 eyes.
Yeah.
You can actually make a living group here,
Yeah.
or you could at minimum make ko, right? Actually,
Yeah.
yeah, there's no ko. It's just alive, I think. Right here's your 2 eyes.
Right. 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 Right.
Actually, well, it could get messy. Actually, let me just see. Where at what point does this make it 2 eyes? Maybe even just here. Because what can if white tries to break this eye? Well, now it's still actually an eye, right?
Yeah.
And if white plays here, this is still an eye.
And I. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely in this game, you showed your weakness of life and death. Not
Yes.
particularly with this one. This one's pretty hard to find, right? Like, how would you? I can't expect you to find this move. I wouldn't find this move in my own game,
Yeah.
right? Most likely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I don't. This one I wouldn't. Gripe with you a lot, but this one in particular is just really easy.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and even here, if you have enough experience, you know this is actually easy to find too.
No, I mean, it's within my grasp. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so, working on life and death, I talk to you all the time where you should try and get through the Tetsuji and life and death books. Just a little each day. If you do 6 problems a day out of those books, I think your reading will improve significantly. Um, but yeah, that's
Oh,
what
and you
this
know
game.
what, Michael?
Mm,
Yes. Okay. So at the end of this game,
mhm.
so we stopped uh, a couple of points,
Oh,
and then
I didn't
the
realize
the,
you
mach-
got twice. Sorry.
the machine didn't the OGS computer didn't recognize that those stones were dead that I at the top,
Uh,
and so it made no on
oh,
the not
this right here. Yeah.
so it made me play a couple. Well, I don't know if I like I lost points because I had to play those because the computer didn't know they were dead.
Yeah. So you won the game, but
I
you
think
lost two.
so.
Yeah, you lost 2 points. You had to play this,
Yeah,
and you had to play
yeah,
this.
yeah.
That's so funny. Is there a way to mark the dead stones like without playing it?
Well, or he wasn't accept. I don't know what happened. Like I pressed OK,
Yeah.
Anyway, so I really feel like it was a moral victory.
That's so funny. And first of all, I didn't even realize you lived down here. I
I
didn't.
did.
After I got past this, I just like stopped. Um, but yeah, you did live here. That's great. Awesome. Okay. And I didn't realize that the score was only 2 points. I just
Yeah,
focus on like the important stuff. A lot of
yeah.
times I don't even see the end result. Like win or lose, I can teach you, stuff.
Right, right.
But man, like that's hilarious that you actually beat him by 0.5, and then yeah, he forced you, or the computer forced you to take these.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
so crazy. Wow, what a story, Marty, huh?
There you go. Huh?
It reminds me. I don't know if you know Trevor from the Massachusetts Go Association,
I know the name.
but he's a 4 dan, I think,
Yeah.
and I beat him in an even game, and
Oh,
I
good.
still have it like recorded, obviously on my OGS. But even though I beat him, he like cheek. I'll use the British term cheeky. He cheekily clicked one of my groups dead on purpose, so I lost the game once we submitted the get the thing, even though like my group was clearly alive. So to me it's a very similar story.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Well, you
All
know,
right, Michael.
good game, Marty's.
Thank you.
I don't think you should feel bad about these. I think in both cases, especially this one, you were doing extremely well, and then somewhere along the line, you just made some silly mistakes around here.
Yeah.
Um, and then for this game, like it was what I take away from this game is yeah, I think your Tetsuji's. Like here was a Tetsuji. Here's a Tetsuji, right?
Yes. 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 Yes.
And then your life and death right here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
there's
There's some fundamentals I could work on.
yeah, specifically reading and technique, and you can get those pretty. You have to be diligent. I don't know how fun it is. Do you find reading like the problem books fun?
I find reading the books delightful. I find doing the problems hard.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah, and I get it, right? Like the end game one. That's kind of learning something new, and it's not like giving you too hard of problems. I'm assuming, so that
Yeah,
can
and
be
they're
like,
fun.
yeah, learning concept is really fun, right? In my opinion.
So, can I tell you a story?
Sure,
There's
sure.
a new guy at the who joined the Bienco League,
Hmm.
and he came in as like 20Q.
Hmm.
And when someone comes in, a bunch of people like so in this case, me, one of the lowest ranked people, would play him. I beat him at 9 stones.
Okay.
Yesterday, this is like after 3 weeks, he is now 8Q in the league.
You beat
He,
him with 9 stones, and now he's 8Q.
yeah,
And is he? Do you think he's playing at that level? Like, is he beating other
yeah,
8Qs?
definitely. Oh no, no, definitely. In fact, he beat Kadar. He crushed Kadar today.
Wow. And how long was this time gap? I'm sorry.
3 weeks.
That's insane. You should ask him what he did.
I did.
And what happened?
So he told me he was doing Tesuji problems 2 hours a day during the week and 10 hours a day during the weekend.
Okay, I
And
don't
he watched
recommend that for anybody, but that is impressive.
and he watched all of the Klossy method videos,
Hmm.
starting from the 25K all the way up to whatever they go.
Wow. Well, I mean, I know you
As
love
I said,
Go. Are you
yeah,
prepared to submit your life to it?
no, no, no. As I said to him, and to be really fair,
Yeah.
like I'm sure he has some talent. I mean, you can't, you know, I mean, it's just like with mathematics. I mean, yes, I think anyone can be brought up to a reasonable level, if they put in the work. But, someone who's really talented can do it fast. So I think you can't discount some natural ability that he must have.
Well, yeah, I think with anything, especially academically, if you can always pay attention to what you're reading and absorb it, that will, being able to do what he did, he has to have that ability. Because for me, I'm very hard headed. When I read something, I'll have to read it like 3 times to really try and understand it or get it or absorb it. And even if I do watch like a lecture or something, I'm not, I guess my focus isn't fully there, right? Like I'm not fully paying attention. So there's no way I can memorize something just by watching one lecture. I got to
Well,
watch that lecture
yeah,
over and
and
over.
and and truthfully, I mean, I watched this life and death thing, and I watched one of those 10-minute videos like twice because who can follow the moves like that? I mean, you have to. I mean,
Yeah,
I have to stop it,
same here.
see what happened.
Mhm.
Do I understand it? So this guy must have some, unusual, let's say at the very worst, learning abilities.
I'm just saying, like, for me, it's a lot of effort to learn anything. So like, I couldn't do what he did. I couldn't do 10 hours of Tetsuji problems. I just couldn't. I'll gladly do like an hour, maybe two, but I can't do 10. That's awesome. That's good on him, right?
Yeah. So there you
Um,
go.
but yeah. All right, Marty. Well, I'm
All
gonna
right.
try and
Thanks,
sneak some
Michael.
breakfast, and then
All
in
right. Good luck. Thank you.
15 minutes or so, I'm gonna stream a game live. So um, I'm gonna do that. If you have time and you want to relax, or if you're goed out, don't worry about it. But got for everybody else, and who's watching, I'll be back in roughly 15-20 minutes, and I'll play a live game.
All right. See you, Michael.
Thanks, Marty. Take it easy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I should look at the comments just really quick. What's your BK rank? What's BK? I'm not familiar. Oh, Benkyo rank. I know Marty. I think is like a lot of 11K. I think White is dead down there. Yeah, down here, White's dead. Just need to click the stones. Manually mark the dead stones. Yeah, 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 yeah. You guys are talking about at the end of the game, you can manually mark things dead. Yeah, if Marty did that, he would have won by zero point 0.5, which would have been awesome. If he defeated the guy who's undefeatable, right? Marty said that this guy never lost to anybody in Marty's division, so that would have been cool. But it is what it is, guys. I am going to try and grab a quick bite to eat, and I'll be back in 15-20 minutes. See you guys soon. And thanks for watching, of course.